Mic check 1 2 1 2. It's the Y2K collector, and I'm just in here kind of pulling out some of the games that I'm going to be selling because I have kind of hit the max point with my gaming shelf where I've pretty much kind of run out of room to take in more games. And so I'm going to have to now pull games off of the shelf that I'm going to actually sell to kind of fit in some of the games that I've recently added. A couple of them being Otogi and Otogi 2, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, Phantom Dust, Spike Out Battle Street. I've added some decent Xbox original games to the collection for sure, as well as some GameCube games that have recently been added to the collection over the past couple months, including Mario Kart, Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes, Donkey Kong Jungle Beat, Pac-Man 3. So there have been a few games that have been added to the wall here, and I'm actually kind of just going through and just kind of pulling out some of the stuff that I'm going to have to get rid of, because obviously there is a limit to how much I can fit on this shelf, and I really don't want to collect beyond what the shelf can hold. The PlayStation 2 has probably been one of the consoles that I've added to, or the collection. The PlayStation 2 collection is the one that I've probably been adding to the most this year, just because I found so many PlayStation 2 games out in the wild this year. Just a huge number of PlayStation 2 games that I found out in the wild. And then there were a couple that I did pick up online. Games like the Red Star, I picked that one up online. I found someone who was selling a bundle of PlayStation 2 games that included Maximo Army of Zin. They were actually selling 4 PlayStation 2 games for $40. Maximo was in that bundle, and I really wanted this game, so I picked that one up. And then I think you guys saw the video where I picked up Radiata Stories the other day, which was a really good pickup. I'm glad to have this RPG back. And then Fatal Frame was one that you guys saw. So there's definitely been like a lot of PlayStation 2 editions added to the collection. And then even when it comes to the 360 hasn't been as, I haven't found as much 360 stuff worth picking up in the later months of the year, but over the summer, I went 360 crazy. I mean, a lot of these pickups were found over the summer, including Ninja Gaiden Yaiba, 99 Nights, Blue Dragon I just picked up over Black Friday weekend, so that was cool. Way of the Samurai 3 was another recent pickup. But when you look at games like Raiden, Ultimate Alliance 2, Fable, Armored Core, a lot of these were pickups that I was able to find over the summer. So really good stuff there. And then the PlayStation 3 collection, like is like, I don't have large collections for any one of these consoles, but I just feel like I have a healthy mix of a lot of stuff, and I never really care to, complete any systems. I just want to have a good amount of games for each system that I really like, because when I look at the library for all systems, there's really like a small number of games that I really care to have for like the GameCube or the PlayStation 2 and 3, or like the Xbox. So I'm really cool and satisfied with what I have, but I guess it's all part of curation. But this year was definitely a huge year for PlayStation 3 as well. Finding both Saw games, Saw 2 and the original Saw, right there. These were 2 pickups that I was glad to find this year, for sure. The Sly collection, definitely glad to add that. The Puppeteer, this was a Black Friday pickup, so was glad to have that added to the collection. And just a bunch of other, games that were kind of added this year. Blades, X-Blades. This is a really, really great pickup that I was glad to add into the collection this year. So just some really good stuff overall. And for me, the name of the game is just curation. Like, it's really curation. And if I have to remove games out of the collection to make room for more games, then that's what I'll do. I do have some games that are out here to the side, but we have Beautiful Joe. Yeah, so like God of War, Beautiful Joe, some of these games might wind up getting sold out of the collection, only because I already have a God of War collection, so I don't necessarily need to have God of War 2 on the PlayStation 2. So that one might be one that gets sold. I've got some that are here. Rogue Galaxy, Capcom versus SNK 2, Dirge of Cerberus. So these will probably stay because I don't have multiple copies of those. But there are a few games here in the collection that will probably wind up going. And then even down here, like the DS collection that I have is pretty set. Like I haven't added a ton of DS games to the collection this year. Just a few. Like I've got a couple down here that I've added. I know Thor was a big ad this year. So Thor, TMNT Episode 3. These were like my Game Boy, not my Game Boy, but my DS ads this year. Was really glad to add this Naruto game. Had some pretty solid ads, and then some other PS3 and Xbox 360 stuff down here. Some really cool stuff that I was glad to be able to add to the collection. But again, you know, it's really just been about curation. With PlayStation 1, my PlayStation 1 collection is pretty set. Like I haven't really, you know, tried to add a bunch to the PlayStation collection. I think I only added 3 games. This copy of Spider-Man 2, Enter Electro, both Lunar 1 and 2, so Silver Star Story and Eternal Blue, both of those were added this year. And I think those were the only original PlayStation games that were added to the collection. I have all of the extras that come with, like, oh, what am I saying? I also added Arc the Lad collection. Unfortunately, I don't have a jewel case for Arc the Lad collection, and I don't have the big box case for any of them, even though I have all the guts. Like I have all the manuals and all the extras, the pendant and all that stuff. I just don't have the big box, so I gotta figure out where I'm gonna find that and how I'm gonna add that in to the collection. But didn't really add a lot. Even when it comes to like the Dreamcast collection this year. My Dreamcast collection is also pretty set. I've only added Expendables this year was one game that I added. House of the Dead 2, NBA 2K1. I think those were the only games that, oh, and Crazy Taxi 2, because I added Crazy Taxi 2 to the collection. But those are probably the only ads. Didn't add anything new from the Sega Saturn standpoint. And definitely didn't add anything new from a Sega CD standpoint. So Sega CD has been pretty set. These are really the only games that I'm really interested in when it comes to the Sega CD. I'm just trying to think off the top of my head if they're maybe like KO. Is that Sega CD? No, that's Sega Saturn. So there's a couple either Sega CD or Sega Saturn games. I can't remember if it's Sega CD or Sega Saturn, but KO Flying Squadron, that's one that I'm wanting to add, as well as Pop Full Mail. Pop Full Mail is another game that I'm wanting to add, but those are like Grail games that is going to take me time to either save up to, or I pray that I find those in the wild. But there's really not a lot happening there. But this wall is the primarily like my retro wall that holds a lot of my disc-based retro games. I do have a whole shelf dedicated to like my cartridge stuff, my NES, Super NES, Genesis, N64, stuff like that. And then I have like a whole other shelf for like Switch and PS4. But just when it comes to like Gen 5, 6, and 7, that's really what this wall is about. This is like the Gen 5, 6, and 7 wall. The curation has been going really well. There's a lot of like games that I just don't want to get rid of. Golden Axe, and these are cheap games. Golden Axe, Viking, and Conan. These are all $10 games, but amazing hack and slash games that have to stay in the collection. Nier, Maijin and the Forsaken Kingdom. Just some really cool games that I wanted to keep. And then I don't collect all of the Naruto games, but there's a couple Naruto games that I thought were really cool. The Broken Bond for sure, and Rise of a Ninja. Those are two really cool Naruto games. I know a lot of times when you hear Naruto, you think Naruto Shippuden. But these are two unique Naruto games that I added to the collection this year as well. So it's been a really good year. It's been a really good year for me in terms of curation. I've sold a lot of things. I've bought a lot of things. But just want to keep it balanced and keep it as true to my gameplay style as I can. Let me know what you do to curate your collection. Let me know, what games are you into? Are you more leaning RPG? Are you more into Pokemon? Are you a hack and slasher? Do you do the beat 'em ups? Are you collecting primarily for Gen 5, 6, or 7? Are you more old school and just looking for Gen 3 and 4? I'm interested to know your thoughts on this and what you do to help curate your collection and keep it to a certain amount, to not let it get out of hand, because that's something that we're all trying to do. We're just trying to maintain control and not go overboard. But I'm interested to know your thoughts, and I'll catch you in the next video. It's the Y2K Collector. Take it easy.